To you. It tells you, don't do that. You're crazy. Go ahead. Do it. Don't do it. It's in control. It never seems 90-something people, the damn thing wins. It does. I don't care how sophisticated you are. I don't care how smart you are. I don't care how religious you are. I don't care about any of those things. Paradigm is in control. Then right into the cells in your being. Think of how you got here. Little particle of energy from mom, little particle of energy from dad, from swimming along. They were in resonance. That is the nucleus of you. And then for 280 days, an attractive force got to work. And all of mom's DNA and all God's DNA, where their DNA come from? Well, their mother and their dad, where did they go from? Their mother used to be dead. God knows how far back this goes. In product of other people. In the confluence of thinking that goes back to God knows how far. That's where you are. That's why you look like you did. That's why you got the hair you've got. That's why you're the height you are, the weight you are. That's why your foot is wide or narrow. This is all programmed into us. Then 280 days later, we make our debut in the planet. And we become programmed by the people we're surrounded by. This is real, and you're not going to get it in school because the teachers don't know it. Look, this is really a black or white deal. It doesn't matter how hard you work. It doesn't matter how many hours you put in. If the paradigm doesn't change, ultimately results remain the same from one year to the next. That's why people go right through their life living much the same as their parents, their grandparents, their babies. Nothing changes. Just as prejudice, negative, ignorant from one generation to the next. You must alter the paradigm if you desire to improve your results. Both companies and individuals have their paradigms. Countries have their paradigms. Families have paradigms. To be able to shape your future, though, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Hey everyone, how are you all? I am so grateful to be here and thank you so much for showing up today. It's day 4 and I really cannot believe it. I've got a surprise for you all. But before I get into the surprise, I just want to celebrate you all for doing the work. People are posting the videos and I think that's what it is. It's all about really, really, truly doing the work, because that's where the transformation happens. That's where everything changes in life. And I am so grateful that you have been doing the work, doing the videos and posting. So tell me in the chat, how did that feel? How did that feel doing the work in doing those, whether it was sending an email out, whether it was really about, doing the work? Because see, the thing is, on day 1, we looked at the goals, right? And then we looked at the paradigm. What is stopping us from getting there in life? And then you started asking yourself, the mind starts asking, can I really change? Is this really even possible for me? Can I have this in my life? And I really want you to know something, that yes, if it's possible for one person, it's possible for everyone. So, but I know how it feels when you're in that stage. You think, no, you're afraid, we all the same. Like I said yesterday, we all have that fear. We all go through it. But something happened yesterday and we didn't wait for the fear to disappear. We moved with faith, and it was easier because we had the support of everyone. And kudos to you because you did that. So I'm really, really so proud of you, because understand this: faith without action is dead. It's faith without action is wishful thinking, and nothing is going to come out of wishful thinking. And actually, it says in Think and Grow Rich, and I'm actually going to get it out. He says in this that wishful thinking is, you're not going to get anywhere with wishful thinking. It's just mere hope or wish. Nothing is going to come out of it. I will find out when I can, and I will talk about that. But even in the meantime, I want you to understand that faith when true faith, and when I mean faith, I'm not meaning religious faith, but faith in yourself, faith in knowing the power that you have within yourself. When you combine that with action, magical things happen in your life, magical. And today we're going to talk about that. We're going to go into that one thing that turns that faith into movement, and that is decision. Because I'll be honest with you, there's a difference between wanting your life to change and really committing that I'm going to change my life. And there's a difference between being interested or being committed. And tonight, I do not want you to just listen with your ears. I really want to listen with your heart. Because for some of you, this night will be when you stop negotiating with the old version of yourself, right? Like I said, over the last few days, we've been building something so beautiful. You all have started thinking about a goal in life. Maybe that's not a realistic goal, not the goal that makes you, that's based on your current circumstances. The goal actually that's calling you, the goal that's going to move you forward, that stretches you, that inspires you, the goal that demands a new version of you, right? That's what it is. And then Day 2, yes, we looked at the paradigms, that invisible programming that's running your subconscious, the habits, the beliefs, the emotional patterns, the inherited conditioning that is literally running the show and giving you the same results day in, day out. And I know you're tired. How do I know? I used to be one of you, so tired of my current reality, so tired of the same results, the same emotional feeling of living my life in, fight or flight mode. It was so familiar to me. Like, having those spikes literally every day was my life, and that's why it's so I get you. I really understand you. And then yesterday we looked at fear and faith. We learned that what you want is not inside the prison of that comfort zone. You have to step out. You must step out because the goal is on the other side of the wall. Whatever you desire, the life that you want, the relationship, the health, the business, whatever is it that you desire, your true heart's desire lies on the other side. And we saw that video yesterday, Will Smith. It was so powerful. And as I said, some of you took the action. You posted the video. Some of you didn't. And I want you to ask yourself why. Because if you have shown here on day 4, I know one thing. There is something within yourself that tells you that I've got something in me. I need more in my life. I know I can do more. And that's why you are here on day 4. And I want you to recognize and take example and encouragement for the people who actually did the video. The fear did not destroy them. They are actually feeling very empowered. So type in the word in the chat if you are feeling empowered, if you were one of those who actually stepped out of it. And yes, much less scary. I love that. Amazing. I love that, Emma. Because that tells you that all of that is just in my mind. All of that is, yes, I might need more help. Yes, I might need more support. Yes, I might need to, improve my skill set or maybe my mindset, but I know I can do it. And I think that's what it was. It gave you evidence, but the evidence wouldn't have come if you wouldn't have moved into action. That's the thing, right? So you really need to understand that, yes, I can do this. I can move into action. And today we had day 4, decision, because you can have a goal. A lot of people set goals. People understand paradigms. As I said, we are walking, talking libraries, encyclopedias of information, of knowledge, of everything. You can feel fear. You can take that one action. But unless you decide, and when I make decide, it means a committed decision. The decision that is, no matter what happens, the decision doesn't change. You will keep going back to the same starting point. That's the thing. So you need to make a committed decision with me today. And I want to tell you, I love this quote, and it's by Dr. Kenneth Blanchard. And he explains this beautifully. I'm going to paraphrase it. I don't remember exact quote. And he says, there's a difference between being interested in making a change in your life, and there's a difference between being committed. When you are interested, you will do what's convenient to you, right? What feels good to you. When you're committed, you will do whatever it takes. And that is the point. And that is literally what changed everything for me. I understood that, okay, I've got this big fantasy goal, but that fantasy is only going to turn into a goal in my life when I make a committed decision of, am I going to do whatever it takes? Am I going to control those thoughts? Am I going to get out of my comfort zone? Am I going to do what it needs to happen in my life? Right? So are you interested? Are you committed? What is it for you? Because that's going to decide, are you going to fit in your old life? You will do what does not disturb your paradigm too much, or you will do what feels safe, or you will do what you can control. That's interest, right? I want to change, but I want to have this, but I want to stop procrastinating, but I want to believe in myself, but I want to build the business, but can you see all of those buts? That's the paradigm talking. I want to change my self-image, but, and all of that word, that small word is revealing everything. Because when there is a but in the sentence, you are negotiating. You are not setting high standards. You are negotiating with the paradigm. You're still asking fear for permission. You're not saying, I'm going to do it no matter what. You're still asking your old identity if you're allowed to become new. And your old identity will always say no. Always. Why? Because it feels familiar. It feels comfortable. And I was talking to my clients about this today. You have to step out, right? You have to, and we were talking about this because how people stay stuck because it's familiar to them. It's so familiar. But when you're determined, you're like, I'm going to do whatever it takes. Everything changes in life. That was, that's when the message is loud and clear to the universe. Higher power, God, whomsoever you believe in, to your subconscious, that I'm only going to accept results, not the excuses. You remove the word but from your dictionary. There is no but, there is no if. I'm just doing it. That's it. I'm going to go for the goal. I'm going to do whatever needs to happen. The change, I'm going to stop procrastination, all of that. You have to, if you really desire that life. And that's why, I remember, I think it was Emma, maybe not Emma, maybe someone else who said that, I'm going to, oh, wow, I just thought that lost the trail of the thought there. Yeah, I was talking about when you really make that committed decision that, yes, I'm going to make that choice today. I'm not going to wait for the outside circumstances to change. I'm not going to half decide. I'm not going to be partly committed. I'm not going to keep one foot in the present of my mind and one out. No, I am doing this no matter what. And that's when everything changes. Everything. Like this week, right? We have around, I think, 270 registrations or around 300 people who registered for this event. How many people showed up? How many people have been consistent? I know many of you have been watching it on the recording, but why not show up live for your calls? It's your life. And you have to make that decision. That's the difference between being interested and being committed. You made a decision about what you want. You started identifying the paradigm that has been keeping you stuck. You learned, you've been putting the effort in. And I was going back to the point what I think it was, I'm not sure if it was Emma or no, I think it was Emma. Emma, you put in your recording about, you made a decision of how you're going to change your life now. You're going to go for your business that you really desire. And that's when the things will start shifting. You went and made the video. You're going for that. I know you said the words, not the speed dating, the speed networking. Yes, I've been to speed networking. My one tip, always for networking, anyone who's going for networking is make one good connection. Forget all connections. I need everyone. Make one good connection because that's going to reap into a good result in life. And if you get chance, of course, make a lot of connections, but definitely go for one. And that's what I mean. Like what happened this week, the door is open. The present door is open. I've opened the door. I've shown you why your results are not shifting. I've shown everything to you, but you have to take that step forward. I can't do it for you, right? That's the thing. That's where you have to be the committed one. And now the question is, will you take a step forward or will you take a step back? Because that is reality. We have a choice. Some people, are very committed. I was very committed. I'm going to go forward. I know I've got you're going to hear my story today as well. I know I've got a lot going on in my back. There was a lot of baggage, but I'm ready to close that chapter of my life and move forward because I know I cannot turn to the next page if I have not closed this page, right? I can't be both. I cannot be because I won't be able to read any of that. So you need to understand that once you make that committed decision, you should be ready to say bye to that. And this is beautiful because it's so inspiring to see the videos that you've been doing. I absolutely love it. So it's not next year. It's not next month. I'm going to do it today. So type in the chat if you're like, yes, that I'm going to do it today. I am actually going to make it today. Committed. Put that in the chat. I'm committed. I'm not looking back. Not at all, no matter what. I'm not sure why someone's talking about Zoom room. We are on YouTube and I can see I'm live. So yeah, so I want you to understand that committed. I want you to type, oh, I want all of you to type committed. If you are committed, if you are determined to take this, and promise yourself that this time it would be different. It's not going to be like past years, not like past months. I am going to do it. Yes, I've got same fears, same patterns, but the results are going to change now, and I'm really committed. Okay. And I know some of you must be thinking, yes, it's easy for you to say, Gagan, because you have changed your life now. You've worked with Bob Proctor. Yes, you teach this. You have results now. Good for you. And I know I used to feel that as well when I used to see people who are really successful. But me, I do not know. And how do I know that's going in your mind? Because I was there. I do not know if I can. I'm not sure if it's possible for me. I do not know it's going to work for me. You know, I've tried things before. I've done things. I've read books. I've tried personal development. It's not worked for me. I felt inspired for a few days, then I fell back again. I know because I was there and I had all of this. And I looked at people who had transformed their lives and thought, like, maybe it's just for them. Maybe it's not for me. Maybe they're the chosen ones. I used to really feel that, you know, maybe it's just for them. Maybe something I don't have. And you will see why I thought that as well. But I looked at Bob and thought, you know, maybe it's only for him. Like he's really a legend at this, right? And maybe you look at maybe Joe Dispenza or any other personal development guru and think, wow, it's good for them. They have this level of faith, success, healing, money, freedom, all of that. It's just for certain people, not for me. And I think that's why this night is so important because it's about making that decision. What do I want in my life? Because if I am ready to transform, it's possible for me as well. I do not want you to leave this challenge believing transformation is only for other people. It's not, right? It is for the people who decide that I'm going to do whatever it takes. And that's why I've got someone really special tonight, because sometimes when I teach, you may think it's easy for you because I've been doing this. So I really want you to hear from someone who stood there exactly at your spot where you are right now. A woman who had probably doubts, who had fear. I won't say much about her. She's going to come and talk about herself. Maybe, you know, she had a goal in her heart, a woman who had tried many things before, who was standing at a threshold exactly where you are wondering, do I do this? Do I take that step? Do I trust what I'm feeling? And she did. She made that decision. So, and that decision changed so much in her life. I don't think just in one field, in a lot of fields, like all of areas of her life. So I'm going to welcome her with so much love. And so I want you to pour love in the chat for her, send hearts, send energy to her, because she's not just here to tell you a story. Yeah, it's her life. So she's here to give you that faith. What is possible for you? So Mizada, can I please ask you to unmute yourself? Okay. Welcome, welcome. First of all, I'm just so proud of you. So proud of you. And I really mean that. I think you're creating something so beautiful out there for women that I am so proud of you, seriously. Yeah, first of all, just introduce yourself to everyone.
Thank you. And I'm truly grateful that you've actually asked me because, you know, you're my, I don't know where to start from. I've worked with many coaches, you know that. I've worked with many, like renowned coaches, and then you've known my history, but you're one person that I've come across, the authentic, that what you say, you do, the walk and talk, you do you know that part. So you're one person I connect, and because you understand me, and you know all those coaches that I've worked with, they were very.
That in a minute. I want you to first introduce yourself to everyone. What do you think?
Oh my God. Okay, sorry, I'm just getting excited to talk about you. Sorry.
I love it.
I'm actually now a neurohypnotist. I'm a professional hypnotherapist and a transformational coach. And I'm really grateful working with, again, I'm going to come back to it because of you where I am now, okay? Because you've helped me so much. There's one thing I want to say as well. That the one shift that you've helped me, obviously we've been working on and off and all that, and I'm going the way, and then you brought me back in the right lane and all that. one thing I always think that biggest shift took place. Remember, I always used to say to you, oh, I've got money blocks, I've got this, I've got that, yeah. And this had become my story of my life. And then I'm like struggling and like I'm not getting clients.
This is where I want you to hold on. And I want you to tell me where you were before you decided you want to work with me. So where were you? Because I think we all, there comes a point in life when we have to make that decision. But where were you before that decision? I think because people, all people will connect to you there.
Okay.
So where were you?
Where was I? Where was I? I was at my lowest. Lowest as in like that time I was looking to get married. Remember, it was September. I can remember the day and everything. And then you're asking me, and then shall I share that? Shall I share like
Up to you.
okay. So what's happened is that I was looking to get married, and of course I went through my own, journey that I was meeting people unavailably, emotionally unavailable, and then Gagan just sat me down and she was like, okay, look, what are you looking for? So I kept on writing what I don't want in that person. This is part of the journey, right? I kept on writing, oh, okay, I don't want this in that person. And then he sat me down and he said, wait, write down what do you want in that person. Yeah. And I did. Soon after that, I met my now husband. And it was such a it's been a journey. That's one of the miracles.
Can I ask you one thing, Ms. Zara? And you don't have to answer because I know it's a bit personal.
Yeah.
Before that, for years and years, you were stuck in unfulfilled relationships. You were attracting the wrong men.
Emotionally unavailable. Like, I'm ready to get married.
How long was that, Ms. Zara?
Oh my God, that was like nearly a decade.
Yes. And I think that's what I want people to hear, because we get stuck in that zone and we do not know what to do, and we try to do things, and you did, right? You became a hypnotherapist in the process. You took coaching from so many coaches to work.
So many coaches, my certifications, NLP, but you were the only person who was able to slap my subconscious story. You kicked my subconscious.
Slap, guys. Okay.
Sorry, because just that your commanding voice, such a loving and command that you cared, even if I was going. What I want to say, but you asked me to talk about myself, but it's all because of you, how I've changed, your strong faith, your dedication. You're not after the money, but whereas, I want to say also that those coaches I've worked with, their mission was money, money, money. They kept on kind of taking money. And for me, I was so desperate to this is what I want, because that's where I want to be, where they are and everything, right? But then my authentic, we weren't aligned, what they wanted and what I wanted. And you and I, we were aligned. You were money motivated. You were actually one of those genuine person that you wanted to see change in me. You want to see change in your people. And I've seen you grow as well, right? I've known you since 2021, right? July. And this is with the best part. I'm still with you. And another shift that took place is that I kept on saying that every time we meet, I've got money blocks, there's nothing working, I'm in debts and all that. And when you said that, wait, why do you say you got money block? You're working, you're earning money. And that's when it was like, that's the day my whole image, that self-image has changed. And I've had this course for a long time, right? And after that day, what did I do? I started attending the lives. The difference I saw every time I attend the live is I'm transforming. Every session I attend, and those that I don't attend, I'm I see the recordings, but it's not the same feeling. It's amazing. So that's the day, and I've started, the decision that you're talking about. I've decided, I've written down what I wanted, and yes, I've started getting clients, right? I started getting clients, and then the money blocks that I kept on saying, the story has changed. My inner story, I changed that, right? Yeah, I'm on a journey, but those are the things that you've actually changed my life.
Ms. Zada, what was it? I know you said you worked with other coaches, and I'm not, of course, everyone's very nice and lovely and all of that. And you had done NLP, you had done hypnotherapy and all of that. But what was it that nothing was still shifting for you?
Yeah,
Like,
that's because I was working from my old story or old identity. I couldn't figure out, right? Because they were like, oh, go and do this, do that. They were telling me what to do and that. But then I'm still stuck on this story. Nobody was helping me to change. Because yeah, I take responsibility, but I also need someone to mirror, like, it's just like kind of, hey, show me the mirror, the way I show my clients the mirror, right? Like, this is it. And you're the only person who was able to do that. Show me the mirror and say, hey, you need to do this, like,
yeah, I just
the
want everyone.
identity.
So Mazad and I did hypnotherapy together, actually, from Marissa Peer. So Marissa Peer is, that's where we trained, Mazad and I, and that's where we met in 2021. That's after that I did Bob Proctor's, and then she saw me kind of really soar high. And she's like, what are you doing, woman? Like, you're just literally soaring high. And that's when I told her, like, I'm doing thinking results, like, that's what I'm doing. And I remember she started first initially, and then she stopped, and then now she's fully back in. Because she was going, whatever the reasons, not going to go in detail. But I want you to tell everyone, where are you like before, what was your emotional state when you were attracting, because I remember you were really stuck. You were like, my finances aren't working. I'm not finding the right man in my life. Nothing is working. Like, that's the story. Nothing is working. And I remember you were literally very low, like you said, very low point in your life. Like,
and
hope wasn't there. Like, what can I do? I remember you telling me that you spent, I don't know how much money on just getting...
Okay, can I just say, no one's going to believe me, everyone's going to be shocked. I don't know how many people are on live here, yeah? For a hypnotherapy session, I paid 5K for one session. Remember I told you, right? Remember, because that's how much I wanted to change, right?
That's how desperate you were in life.
That's how desperate I wanted to change my life, my love life and my financial life, all that. But the one thing is the identity we need to change. Yeah, we want something. I've been writing goals and all that, but it's like, creating a new story. This is what I've been doing, right? Creating new story, my inner story. Because what I say to my clients as well, yeah, that it's not the words that come out of your mouth that you should be worried. It's the one that you're having conversation with, the silent ones. They're the dangerous ones, right? And as soon as I change that one, now what I do, I observe. I don't judge. Before, I used to be very critical of myself. Like, those are the ones that I know. I was judging myself because of that. Oh, you made the wrong decision. And, like they say, like, oh, you're a failure. Remember one of those was, I'm not worthy. Like, oh my God, do I deserve? Like, well, can I hypnotize someone? So many doubts and all that. And now that I'm working with people in sessions, I see them transform. I was like, is it really me? I questioned myself.
Of course it's you. Of course.
And it's just so amazing, because that belief that, the worthiness that, all those things I had to shut, I had to bury. It's like kind of like, bury that old version of me until, because you
why
can't
would
have
you
that.
say, you did so much, but why were you not able to do it by yourself? Because what was the reason?
I've got the resources, right? Why wasn't I doing it? Because again, I can help other people, but I couldn't help myself, right? Because you knew how many courses I've done, right? But you need someone else to show you the mirror. Like I show my people the mirror, right?
I think that's where the accountability comes in.
Accountability, yeah. When I'm taking accountability, also commitment as well, because sometimes you're like, you say, woman, why don't you book your one-on-one with me and all that, right? You come and then, okay, I need to do that. I need to do my, session lessons and all that, right? So it's that again, intention. Yeah, those are the things. And then the way you work, honestly, I want to work with you for the rest of my life. I can say, like, honestly, the identity, that paradigm, I'm sure many people are doing.
I wouldn't have done my job well if you'll be with me for the rest of the life. If then I'm not gonna volunteer. I always say that I remember one of the other, Gups, right? And she said, oh my gosh, I'm before she joined, like, I will work with you for the rest of my life. And I said, you know what? I don't think so, because if that was the scene, that means I'm not good. No, you're not working with me for the rest of your life. Maybe for proximity and all, that's different, not to work on yourself.
No, not that, but like what I mean, like, yeah. Because look, in a short amount of time, just the coaching part I'm talking about, yeah, that's obviously different than I met my husband and all that. Yeah, now we're married. But then again, is that again the money story I was bragging about? Like, oh my God, you know, that's because I was focused on like getting clients and getting paid, right? That was my, I want to get, but this is what the story I've learned from my other previous coaches and the money, like, oh, you know what? But then that didn't align with me. No, it's serving, right? Serve, serve, serve. And as soon as I also changed that, they're like, okay, like you've also mentioned that as well. And Bob, you know, I've watched Bob's like, yeah, it's serving, right? Serving is selling. Yeah, it's also, you know, and that. And these are steps that has really changed within a short period. Like, when did I start? Again, you know, during in January, right?
Yeah.
January, right?
But then January so you kind of switched off for 2-3 months. Remember when you had
Yes, yeah.
surgery and all? So yeah.
Yeah, so those are the things that it's like I was cleansed what happened in December. I went through a surgery, like, you know, that's all. And then again, I didn't let my surgery to kind of stop me. I kept on going on, but I didn't stop.
And
then
that
I'm
was
still
another shift, right? It was a very big scare of your life, and you turned it around because of the mindset work we were doing together.
Yeah, and I remember I said to you, like, you know, when I found out, I didn't believe. I rejected the story. Like, no, that's not my story. This is just a year, you know. And then look what happened. They said that. Well, you know, they've said, and I was like, yeah, and that's a strong belief, right? Because again, it's mind over matter. What we
100%.
see ourselves, and that was a miracle, because I was able to change my story, my inner story, right? My subconscious story, like, because if I've said, like, if I believed what the doctor, the surgeon said, then that would have been my story and it would have lasted longer, how fast it was growing, right?
Yeah.
But no, I kind of stopped there, like, no, stop here. And I started the new year as a, like, but kind of like a newborn, right? You know, it was like, yeah, so rebirth, I say it. And yeah, that's it.
I love
I'm
that.
truly grateful.
Where would you say you're in life today?
I'm in a place where, like, you know, I used to say, you know, even though you always said I was a confident person, I always used to limit myself by saying, oh, you know what, visibility. I used to say stuff about that. Didn't even, it was, you know, like, I didn't need it. But as soon as I kind of, like, again, being that word, like, no, I am, because I'm creating contents, right? I'm creating, you can see, like, you know, I'm creating contents like that's aligned with me. I'm networking.
One of them went viral as well.
Before I was, remember, I was a networking machi. And then what did I say? After one of the session, I said to you, I've actually written it down, where I'm going to network every single month, and I've written down. And I started networking twice a month, remember? Now there's opportunities coming, and I'm so grateful that I was invited to go to House of Lords.
I
And
know,
you need
I saw
invitations, right? And a year ago, well, where did I think that I'm going to be, you know, visiting and meeting these...
there?
Yeah, meeting these people. And, you know, yesterday the energy was like, I've never felt it like that. So when it's like there was no competition. Everyone's like, you know, the successful people, and everyone like kind of cheering each other up, and like, it was amazing. It was amazing.
I saw it on your stories. Like, yeah, amazing. Really
So
good.
thank you.
So tell me one thing, Miss Ada, what would you say to someone who's watching you on this challenge, the version of you who has doubts, maybe the version who was afraid, who do not know, and sitting on that fence, shall I not book a call, or shall I just go for it or not? Or, you know, all of those thoughts that we get, will it work? Will it not work?
It will definitely work. It will definitely work. And you know what, yeah? I wish that when we met in 2021, that I did the course we did then, when you're like pushing me in that year. But I guess that wasn't my time. But right now, if you're asking me, those of you who are watching, honestly, if there's anything you want to do, the right decision, this is it. You know what, enroll or book a call with you or something in TIA. TIA will change. But it will only change that if you're willing to change and committed. This is the guarantee. That's the guarantee I can give, that I, you know, me being as a where I was, and then not consistent, and then, you know, I would disappear from social media, like, yeah. But right now, I'm like so grateful that I'm consistent. And also I created also new story as well, like people are finding me, you know, networking, how I'm meeting people. I've never thought I would meet these type of people, like, you know, influential people, right? And then these are connections. I never thought, you always used to tell me like network, but I didn't realize I'll be networking on this level. So I'm truly grateful, because that's, again, it's so important. Yeah, make the decision, stay committed to yourself. Yeah. And that story that's telling you you're not good enough, you are good enough and you are worthy. That's the gift to give yourself. These are if you can shift these two, that, you know what, I am good enough and I'm worthy of this, it will change your life. Definitely.
And what would you say to the person, you know, maybe you're like, I know you already said that I wish I could have done this before, like wish that. But I'm just so proud of you and so happy for you. Any other thing that you have in mind that you would want to say to anyone, any last thoughts or words that are coming to your mind, Muzada?
Is that, yeah, it's easy to say, but you know what? Don't doubt yourself, and give this gift to yourself. The TIR is you could be, I don't know, 20s, 30s. Even if I was in my 20s, I would be doing this because this is where I want to be, where I've been. Because it's like we're in a prisons in our mind. Yeah, the identity work is so powerful. Yeah, so many people are doing it, definitely, right? But is that ones that you're one of them ones that, like, you know what? It's amazing the way you shift people's mind.
Oh,
I was one of the hardest you probably met. Like, yes, but you were
I never
able to,
believe that. I never believe that.
But yeah, so I absolutely, with all my heart, Gagans hasn't paid me or anything, by the way, but this is from my own experience. I'm not affiliated with Gagan.
She's paid me to work with me.
This is literally because where I am. I remember how I was so desperate and all that, but how you walked through me and changing those shifts, yeah, divine timing and all the stuff here, but also I needed to be, instead of criticizing myself and like, I'm going to do this and why isn't it working? But what happened 3 months ago, I was working full time and I was building my business, right? I was so enjoying it so much. But in the past year, it's just too much for me. I'm so busy doing unproductive stuff, not the ones that I need to do. But right now, what I'm focusing on what's important to me and prioritizing my, needs and that stuff. And it's working. Another thing, if you're asking me, also, yeah, business is good and that, but focus on your health is so important. It's one of the most important wealth you can have. When the health is there, you can also achieve many things as well. Because I'm going to go into so many things now, yeah. Because obviously, because of sometimes, like, emotions, like, I was saying earlier, can I just mention the emotions? But, but when it comes to, like, we are so easy negative because our mind is wired for negative stuff, so we manifest it so quickly. Talk about disease. Where does disease come from? Because of suppressed emotions. So it's from my own experiences that because now I'm more present with my thoughts and I'm like observing with that. I'm not judging, like, okay, what is it trying to tell me, what is it trying to teach me, right? And it's like when I see, like, even a thought comes, the negative ones, like, I feel it in my body so strong. And like, then I'm thinking, oh my God, I want to feel my positive emotions like this. Yeah. So that's why it's like as soon as I said that to myself, that was another shift took place.
I love that for you, Muzada, seriously. And I'm so grateful to you because I know I've got lots to cover before about decision. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. Honestly, thank you so much. And thank you for giving other people's faith, people who are watching you, who will be watching your recording. I just want to take a minute to just say, really, everyone, to clap for her story because she has achieved a lot. I'm really proud of you. So thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, everyone, take care. And please do book a call. Trust me, your life will be transformed.
I will tell them now. Guys,
take
I
care.
definitely want you to book a call. So what I say next, I want you can mute yourself probably and maybe turn your camera off. Thank you so much, Muzada. So, because some of you are exactly where she was, and I just do not want you to clap for her, but I actually want you to think about if you found yourself in her story today. You've read the books, you've listened to the podcast, you probably have done a lot of work. But today, if you felt inspired inside this community, and if there is something within you that's telling you, you know what, I need to make that decision. I'm going to go and do something. I want you to book a call for you because I do not want you to just see this as a calendar. So there is a link in the, in the description, and there will be a link in your WhatsApp and in the emails as well. But I do not want you to just see it as a calendar. I really want you to see this as a decision point, because it's just not an ordinary conversation that I'm going to have with you. This is going to be like literally like a private strategy call where you sit with me or someone from my team for around 60 minutes, not while you're cooking dinner, not while you're driving, not when you're with children, but literally you and me. This is your time. This is your life you're talking about, right? A space where you come honestly, a space where you stop hiding behind the mask, a space where you tell the truth about where you are and where you want to go. And on this call, we will ask you the basic 3 to 4 questions. First, where are you in your life right now? What are the results? What are your results? What has worked for you? What has not worked for you? Where do you feel stuck in life? Where do you feel dissatisfied? Where are you on the map of your life? Second thing that we will look at is, where do you want to go? What is your goal? What's that real vision? I know many of you have set the goal, but maybe that's not the right goal. Maybe that's not the right why. So I'll really help you identify what is that right goal, not the one that makes sense to your current bank account, to your family. What is it that you truly want in your heart's desire? Third, we will look at what is standing in the way. What are those paradigms? Like Mazada said, she thought it was this, but it was not her money blocks. In 1 second, I told her, it's not your money block. Come on, you've been working forever. Yes, it's how you manage the money. So, I will, of course, help you identify what is it that's keeping you stuck? What's that invisible pattern that keeps repeating in your life? What identity are you still living from? And what is the thing you may not be able to see by yourself? And I really want to be honest with you. These calls are not for everyone. It's not for everyone. I'll be very honest. These are only for those, if you feel that something in your heart is saying, you know what, this is my next step. And I did say, it's not for the people who are interested, or let me just find out what this call is about. No, it's for the people who are committed. And not everyone's going to take this call. And I'll be very honest. I do not want you to book the call if you're just interested, because as I said, we have around 300 people who have registered. Yes, not everyone is live, but people watch recordings. I get so many messages on that, I've been watching on recordings, and they will book the call. And we've only got for Friday and Saturday, we've only opened calendar for 2 days, right? So I want you to take that opportunity, because we've got limited spots. Think about around 300 people and 2 days. Can't fit 300 people in 2 days. Even if I open the calendar for Sunday, I won't be able to fit in all the calls. So I do not want you to wait until tomorrow, because the old identity would have kicked in, the paradigm would have kicked in. I want you to, if your heart is telling you to book the call, right? Your paradigm will tell you to think about it, but your heart knows. It will tell you to move. So if your heart knows, click the link, book the call right now, right? Oh my gosh, there's so many love for you, by the way, Mazada, in the chat on YouTube. So much love for your story. Oh, I love that. Really good. Okay, so going back to this. So I never want you to think that it's easy for me to say all of this. And I really want to share something personal with you all, because I never want anyone to think that I'm standing here teaching this because I read a book and I memorized a concept. No, I teach this because I lived it. I know what it feels like when you feel trapped in your life. I know what it feels like to look at your life and quietly wonder, is this it? Like, was I really sent for this? I know what it feels like when you have dreams in your heart, but your body, your mind, your bank account, and your circumstances all seem to be saying, no, not you. So let me tell you my story, if you allow me to. And my story is like this fly. I always give the example of a fly that was trapped inside a room. The window is open, the freedom is there, but the fly cannot seem to get past that glass window. And, it tries again. It tries harder, pushes harder, uses more effort, do more of the same thing, and still trapped. And eventually the fly gets tired, it stops trying, and sometimes it dies there. And I think that's how I felt in my life. I really felt that, because I'm 48 today. When I started this journey, I was 42. But for 4 decades of my life, I was someone who felt trapped. I felt trapped in this life where I felt I'm not wanted. I felt I'm not lovable. I felt a lot worse, not even just I'm not wanted. And it's not because I was not wanted, really. I was. My parents did love me. I always say that's as a disclaimer. My parents, my family loved me like anything. But it started with when I was very young, or when I was born. I was born into a family who wanted a son in an Indian household because I was the third daughter. So my story started then of picking up on this emotion that I'm not wanted. And again, I'll say it again, my parents really, truly loved me and they gave me every opportunity, but they wanted a son. And here I came. And since I was baby, I remember being told, not by my parents, but from the other extended family, no one wanted you. Everyone wanted a son. My siblings telling me, oh, dad just found you in a garden field and just got you home, right? In a carrot garden, God knows which one, in a farm. And so all of those things, I made a belief when I was young that I was not wanted, right? Because no one wanted me. And that belief probably attracted my first sexual abuse in my life when I was 2.5, 3 years old. And that abuse led to another abuse. That led to another abuse and that kept on kind of, self-fulfilling prophecy of life, destructive prophecy of my life that I'm not wanted. And I got from one abuse to the other abuse to the other abuse, again, making my belief about myself that I'm not wanted. And I'm trying my best in my life to become a good student, but I was not able to. I tried in my life to become good at something, but I was not able to because my belief deep down was I was not good enough. I'm not good enough. That's why probably my parents didn't want me or my family didn't want me, or, I attracted this abuse. And I remember growing up, still believing and questioning myself all of the time that I understand I was abused when I was young and I can't blame myself, but I couldn't stop myself when I was growing up. And I kept blaming myself and I lived in that guilt, in that shame for 4 decades of my life. Because I was trying to change my life. Of course, who doesn't want a good life? I was trying to change my life, but I had these big beliefs about myself. And I felt, I blamed myself and I felt like that fly who just could not escape that. I was born in India. And then I got married and I came here when I was 24, or half of my life now I've been here in this country. And when I came here, I thought that was my escape to my whole life, right? Of all of this abuse and everything. Yeah, I got rid of the abuse. I got married. But did I get rid of the beliefs? Did I get rid of the identity? Did I get rid of my circumstances? No, they just changed. So all of that, I never had any financial difficulties when I was in India because I was born in wealth, but I had all of other things. I was not smart enough. I was not good enough. I've just told you. And then when I came here, I started having financial difficulties, So my life was being attacked in every area of my life. And then I started working when I was probably in 30s. I'd never worked prior to that because I never needed to. And that was my mindset that, there'll be a prince charming to fix my life. No one's coming to fix your life. Let me tell you this much. And my health was falling apart. I got fibromyalgia when I was teaching, when I became a teacher. What I want to tell you is I felt trapped. I know how it feels when nothing is going right in your life and you're trying and you're trying and you're trying. And I did all the courses and I did everything and I got the books and I've been in personal development, but my life sucked. Literally, it felt like my body was so heavy. It felt like invisible breaks. I would have panic attacks. I had major anxiety and panic attacks when I was a teacher, and I was wheeled out 3 times out of my school building they took me to Hillingdon Hospital because I was in such a panic state, hyperventilating, not able to, like really in a bad state. My life just got from bad to worse to worse to worse. I was working hard, I was trying things, wanted my life to be better. I wanted my kids to have a better life, but nothing was working. My bank account was always overdrawn. I know the pain of going in a supermarket. And again, remember, I came from wealth. So it was not that, I did not. But when I came here, there wasn't money. And I remember making a choice of where I'm going to spend this £1 on this or on that, So I really know the pain. And it might be different in your life, but pain is pain. And we all have that. We all feel that it's just me. And I thought it was just me, right? But then I know there's so many women who go through the same thing. And I want you to know that my past defined me for 42 years of my life. All of those beliefs that I picked up on, whether they were true, whether they were the false story, and they were the false story, right? But I believed them to be true. And because I believed them to be true, I lived my life from that. But that doesn't mean you have to live like that. That doesn't mean any one of us have to live like that, right? I was losing hope in my life. That is where I was in my life, really, really losing hope. Like hope is the least, right? When you even lose hope, then my life could actually get better, or I could actually come out of these experiences, these traumas, conditioning, all of that. It's hard. I get that. But my self-image was so small about myself. I accepted a smaller life. I settled for less. I lowered my standards. I shrinked my desires. I tolerated pain, physical, emotional, spiritual pain. Like on all three planes, I was literally dying in my life, literally, right? And I was justifying, oh, it's struggle. Oh, we call it survival mode. Or, I was just always in that mode of survival. I never knew what was out of that, whether it was my and even during that time, I had such good relationships, which I found the love of my life, and I just pushed that person away because I didn't think I was worthy of that. And I always attracted the wrong people in my life, like Mazada did, right? But I wanted a good life. It's not that I did not. My conscious wanted the good life, but my subconscious was kept pulling me back to what felt familiar. And what felt familiar to me was struggles of life. What felt familiar to me was anxiety. What felt familiar to me was not feeling worthy of a good life. What felt familiar to me was I'm not good enough. All of that. So I was doing affirmations, I'm good enough, and all of that, blah, blah, blah. But nothing was helping because that was not what I needed. I needed what was something, I needed that change in my identity. I needed to stop seeing myself as the victim of my life because that was my identity. I'm the victim. So whether that was I was not wanted, whether that was the abuse, whether that was finances, whether that was health, all of the time my story was, it's me, poor me, right? And my story was always that. And we all have a story, all. And all of that comes down to what is your relationship with yourself? What is it that where are you right now? Because motivation is going to fade. And I do not want to give you motivation. You will feel inspired for 2 weeks and it's all going to go back to the same emotional. But if you could change that image, if you could just allow yourself, and I think that's what it is, when you hit your rock bottom, because and you don't need to hit your rock bottom, that's the thing. For me, yes, I had, my body, my finances, everything, I had hit my rock bottom. I felt really trapped, like I said, but the day I made a decision, and I did that by reading a book from Dr. Joe Dispenza. I don't remember the name of the book, but I only read the first chapter, and I just Googled him, what his story was. And in that moment, I made a decision that, what, I do not know how I'm going to heal myself, but I'm going to do it because that was my biggest. I remember going into my therapist's office and saying, I'm 30 years of age. I do not know if I'll be 60, I'll be here or not because of the pain I have in my body, because it was so, if you know someone with fibromyalgia, you will know what that pain is. And it's crazy, chronic fatigue and pain. It's just absolutely, and all of this burden of my life was, my actually fibromyalgia was just a manifestation of everything I had trapped, bottled inside me. And in that moment, when I read that book, I just made a decision that I do not know how, but I'm going to change my life. Not a wish. Remember, it was not a wish, not a hope, not let me try for this few days, because I had tried a lot of things. So I just made a decision that I was going to change my life. I do not know how, God. I do not know what I'm going to do, what not. But I know that I am going to change my life. And the decision was made. That's it. My decision. It doesn't come from clarity that I need the full clarity first. The decision comes from making that, I am done living like this. I am done being this version of me. I want a new life. And once the decision is made, you've stepped into a new vibration. Because when you decide, you stop sending the mixed instructions to your subconscious mind, to the universe. Because before the decision is made, the mind is saying, I want this, but I'm scared. I want this, but this. And that's what my whole life was. I wanted a better life, but I had an older story. I want this, but this is happening. I want this, but I do not know how I'm going to get there. And all of that was creating confusion. That was all creating mixed signals to the universe. Remember on day one, I spoke about mixed signals. You can't send mixed signals. You have to pick up a side. Am I going to go forward? Am I going to go backward? Where are you going? Are you moving forward? Are you going backward? Let me know in the chat, where are you going in the life, right? And then the mind will start searching for ways. And for me, when I made the decision, Bob Proctor appeared in my life. Resources came. I didn't have the money to invest in myself. I'll be very honest. I was a teacher who was anyway living paycheck to paycheck, always banking overdrawn. But I made a decision again. I did not know how much it was going to cost me to work with Bob Proctor. I did not know how much it was going to cost me to work with Marissa Peer. I did not know anything, but I had made a decision during COVID that, my life is going to change. I do not know. And the minute I made my decision, people appeared, like Marissa appeared, Bob Proctor appeared, the money appeared in my life. Everything appeared. Everything. But because I made that clear decision that I want to change. And you know what? Everything showed up. Resources will always show up. Ask yourself, the day you decided to do anything, didn't the money just show up? Of course, because you want it. But do you truly want what you want? That's the question. And then when something will start happening, in my life, everything started changing because my health improved. I applied everything I did from Bob's to my health first. My anxiety disappeared, my confidence grew, my faith deepened, my standards shifted, my habits shifted, my business started to grow. I left teaching in 6 months of starting my business. And I would have left early. It was just my boss who did not let me, my head teacher at the time, because I was so good at what I did. The income that I used to earn became my quarterly income, then it became my monthly income. I also earned that income in one day as what I used to earn as a teacher in March, April, somewhere at that time, right? But I want you to hear this carefully. This did not happen because I was special or I had some extra talent. It happened because I decided. And then I kept deciding. Decision is not just one moment and then you never feel that fear again. I made that decision a way of living. Every day I decided I'm going to go for this. I just kept going and just kept learning what Bob said to me, and I just kept applying that in my life. That's it. And that's what I did. It's simple. Like Mizada said, it is simple. And yes, it works. And it doesn't work because you're special or I was lucky or what. It worked because I was committed. And this is why I do this work, because I know what it feels like to be in the present and not know where the door is. I know what it feels like to try everything yourself and not bloody getting anywhere. I know what it feels like to be tired of trying to fix yourself, because there's nothing broken with you, but we keep fixing ourselves. I also know what it feels like when one decision changes the direction of your whole entire life. Everything changes. So if you are listening to me tonight, whether on live or on recording, and something in your heart says, you know what, I want to do it for myself. I know I'm meant for no. That is me. I cannot keep going around the same mountain again and again. Then I want you to take the next step. I want you to book that call. Click the link. You're not going to lose anything. But yes, it's not for everyone, like I said. I do not want you to feel pressured, but I want you to stop abandoning yourself. The part of you that's asking to rise, stop abandoning her. Because if you keep abandoning that, life is going to abandon you. You have to stand up for yourself. No one stood up for me for 42 years. I had to stand up for myself, that I'm going to do it for myself. And once I did, everything changed. And I want you to know, on that call, I do not want you to think that, oh my gosh, what will I say? You won't be judged. You won't be criticized. You won't be told your goal is too big. You'll be seen. You'll be heard. And that call is going to give you more clarity where you are, where you want to be, and what is keeping you there. And only if we genuinely believe that we can help you, I will show you what that looks like to work with us. But if I think I cannot, I will tell you straightforward, I'll be like very straightforward. Like I said, this is not for everyone to come and buy something. It's not a jar of carrots or something. You need to make a decision that I am going to do this for myself, right? And whether you decide on the call you want to work or not, like I said, I won't even offer it to you if I think, no, you're not the right fit, or I don't think you're ready, or I don't think I can help you. It could be any of those things, right? But you wouldn't know until you book that call. Because this is not another wishful thinking moment. This is the moment when you're really deciding. And remember what I said, there's a difference between being interested and being committed. So do not make it complicated. Click the link, the book is in the call. Like I said, we've only got very limited. Amazing. I love that. I want to see you, Claire, on the call. Book that call. Give yourself 60 minutes, but give yourself 60 minutes, not while you're walking, not while you're on your walk. Sit down and have a chat with me. It's about your life, and your life matters. I'm not sure whether it matters to you, but it definitely matters to me. And I know, go deeper with decision, because decision requires the death of the old identity. And I love how Dr. Joe Dispenza puts it. He says, the change is biological, neurological, chemical, hormonal, everything. It's a genetic death of your former self. And that is so true. Like Mazada was explaining, her old self had to die, the one that was familiar to relationships which were not good for her, right? Which kept abandoning her. And now she's happily married, right? And that's why change feels uncomfortable. You're not just changing your schedule. You're not just changing your habits. You're not just changing your thoughts. You're letting an old version of you die. And that old version is going to fight back. Like it will tell you, do not book that call. What if they judge you? What if this doesn't work? What if you're not ready? But I will say, what if it works? What if that call has a name for you? What if you just stop listening to that voice and everything starts working for you? Because if you listen to the first one, what if it doesn't work? What if this happens? You're going to go back to the same life, same old patterns, same old results, back to the same promises at the end of the year. And then there comes a point in life where you should decide that I'm going to actually move forward, because both cannot live. Your old and new cannot live. The old identity and the new identity cannot both be in control. One has to lead. And every day you choose. Every time you procrastinate, you're making a choice. You're saying, I'll do it later. Every time you say, but, you're making a choice. Every time you take action with faith, that is also a choice. So what choice are you going to make today? Every time you speak about your goal, you're choosing. Every time you ask for support, you're choosing. So tonight is not about whether you feel fear. Of course you will feel fear. Tonight is about what you do while you feel fear is present. Because if you're waiting for fear to leave before you move, you're going to wait forever, right? So some of you are afraid of booking the call because you know it requires honesty. And I get that, but I'm not here to judge you. It takes courage to sit with someone and say, this is where I'm going. This is what I want. Maybe you've never spoken about your goal out loud. This is where I'm going to go, and that's fine. That's where we all are. So that is vulnerable. That is brave. I get that. And Paradigm is going to call that illogical, but I will say, do it for yourself. Why would you, your Paradigm might say, why would you speak to someone you do not know? Like, someone's just appeared on your social media. Why would you just listen to her? Why would you just open your heart to someone like that? Why would you talk about your life? But let me ask you, has logic ever changed your life so far? Has doing the same thing again and again changed your life, your results? Has hiding protected your dream? Sometimes the next step is illogical, my friend. Setting a C-type goal is illogical. Choosing faith is illogical. Changing a paradigm is illogical. Speaking your heart is illogical. Booking that conversation may feel illogical. But if the old logical way has kept you stuck, maybe it's time to do something different, right? And I really invite you to book this call with me. Like I said, we've got very, very few calls booked, so book that call. And I know we are over time, but if you give me 5 minutes, I love reading this poem out because it's such a beautiful conversation with God poem. And it's not because you need this, but I want you to feel the truth in it. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful poem. I read somewhere, I don't know who wrote this, but it's beautiful. And I just want to read if you've got 2 minutes with me. And God says, okay, someone says to God, I'm falling apart. And God says, no, you're not. But God says everything is breaking. Pieces of my life are falling on the floor. And God says, let them fall. But God, I need you to put me back together. And God says, no, I don't. You're not a puzzle. And then this person says to God, but what about all of these pieces? And maybe they fell for a reason. Maybe they were never really you. Maybe you were holding on to things that no longer belong to the person you're becoming. And then this person says, but I'm scared. What will be left of me if I let go of the fear? What will be left of me if I let go of the past? What will be left of me if I let go of this identity? And God says, only the best pieces of you. And I'm afraid of change. And God says, you're not changing, you're becoming. And becoming who? Becoming who I created you to be. And I love this because the whole world says you're becoming someone new, but I say, no, you're always becoming who you were created. And we all that essence of light, the love, the faith, the courage, compassion, power, we all have that within ourselves. We are all created for something bigger than just these pieces, these labels that we have given ourselves. We are greater than the fear. So let them all fall. Get up, get up. Become who you were created to be. And I so resonate with this because for years, I can really feel that pain of fear. I can feel that pain of being stuck. I can feel that pain of all of those pieces that I held on to as badge of honor. They were actually not badge of honor. They made me who I am, and I'm grateful. But who was I meant to be? So I was not broken, and you're not broken. We are all rising. And this is what I want for you. And the question is, do you want this for yourself? Because I truly want this for you. Truly, truly want this for you all. Do you want it for yourself? So book that call for yourself, for your family, for you, for the love of your life. I wish someone had done that for me sooner. Someone had shown me that no one is going to come and fix your life. You have to do it for you. And I'm glad I did. And I'm really proud of that today because I deserve it. I'm worthy, and so are you. And I know what story might be going in your mind, and maybe you're not. But I want you to know, no, you are worthy. You are more than worthy, not just worthy. I really look forward to seeing you on this call because it's a conversation between you and me about your life, nothing else. No pressure attached there, right? But of course, I want people who are committed. I do not want you to waste your time or my valuable time, and I think everyone's time is valuable. But if you are at a stage in your life where, yes, I would like more clarity. Yes, I would love to see what this is about. Even if it's a curiosity thing of, I want to know what it's about, book that call because you wouldn't know otherwise, right? So do that for yourself. I want that for you as well. I look forward to seeing you on the calls. So thank you so much. Oh, by the way, tomorrow, we have a very important Zoom. So after we finish at 8:30, tomorrow is about money, my favorite topic. I love talking about money. And then at 8:35, we're going to move into Zoom where you can bring all your questions, please. It's going to be like a hot seating session. What my clients get from me, so you can get that as well. So bring all your questions on the Zoom, and it's going to be get your cameras on, get your coffee, wine, whatever you want to drink. And I'll see you on Zoom tomorrow at 8:35. I'll see you at 7:30 for our money session. Thank you for being here. Love you loads.